Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast, where the bags are packed, the truck is loaded, on its way to Tampa from Yankee Stadium. Pitches and catches are just a couple of weeks away from reporting. So we'll get into all that as well as a little drama off the field with Luis Severino wanting to pitch for the Dominican team in the World Baseball Classic and Cashman not letting him. But before we dive into that, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So wherever you're listening right now, hit subscribe, get notified new content comes up. Again, get these little news updates that I'm about to give you now, plus some of the interviews I do on my YouTube channel, such as my latest guest, Sean Spradling from WBC Central. Again, has a podcast focused on the World Baseball Classic, so kind of coincides with this episode right now. So make sure you get all that by being a podcast subscriber. So I mentioned, the truck's on its way to Tampa with all the uniforms and the bats and the gloves and all that whatnot. But of course, the story, I guess the latest drama of the day is Luis Severino wanting to pitch for the Dominican team, and of course Brian Cashman, as a GM, setting his foot in there and say, no, you cannot pitch. And you remember how they babied him last season, pretty much missed the entire second half of the season because they were worried about that shoulder that's always been balking him the past couple of seasons. Then, you could kind of say it was the right call because, he was good in the playoffs, in the two games he pitched. Now, of course, he lost game 2 in Houston there, but did pitch well enough, so you can't really put that on him. So if you want to say, was it the right call the Yankees make? Yeah, but then afterwards you heard rumblings of Severino saying, they babied him a little too much. He didn't need to be out that entire second half of the season. It was kind of unnecessary. And now, again, it's a situation where he probably feels like he's ready to go and he could pitch in this World Baseball Classic. But again, the Yankees being really putting him on a tight leash and not letting him pitch in. Of course, a lot of these players, as Sean Spradling mentioned in the interview, which again is available there. If you want to go back and look at an episode about 2 or 3 episodes back, mentioned a lot of these players, they're proud to represent their teams, and we also saw some of that fervor in the World Cup just a couple of months ago. So you kind of understand where he's coming from. But of course, the Yankees, have to be concerned about Severino. Again, he's their guy. They picked his option up to bring him back this season, and again, good raw tool. When he's on, he's healthy, he's fabulous. But he does, have this seem like the shoulder issue balks up at him once in a while. So you understand why the Yankees are overprotective, and I think it's the right call by Cashman there. Now you might say, it's a double standard because why is he letting Nestor Cortes pitch for Team USA? Well, again, the Nestor Cortes injury was a groin injury. It's something that could balk at any point of a season, which pitchers are going to go through from here time to time. Throughout the course of the season. So, it's not detrimental to the arm. Now, let's just say Nestor Cortes had a shoulder or elbow issue, again, when he walked off that mound against the Astros, kind of in a, kind of a beaten manner there. Then, of course, I think the Cashman probably stepped in and not let Nestor pitch for Team USA. But the fact that it was a groin injury, which, again, is not really a structural issue. It's just, all right, you kind of stretch it out and a few weeks later you're fine. So, and that was way back in October. We're now, about 6 months later, I'm sure the groin is fine. So, I understand why Cashman let that go, but it is the right call in Severino, just because, again, every year we go through a shoulder problem with him, and it's just there's no reason for him to pitch in this World Baseball Classic, and I think it's the right call for Cashman there. So he's probably gonna be a little grumbly about it. Now they picked up Severino's option, so he's pretty much playing for an extension. So whether it's gonna be for the Yankees or for another team, it's also within his best interest to not pitch in his World Baseball Classic as well, because I'm sure he wants to be as ready and fresh as possible and have no roadblocks to start the season. Again, if you're looking for, Severino at this point is probably going to want a big deal. The Yankees kind of got him at a team-friendly 4-year deal a couple of years ago, but, Severino now is, no spring chicken. He's probably going to want something, at least be where he's taken care of for the next 5-6 years. So, it's within his best interest to not be hurt this season, have a good year, and then get that big contract. Again, whether that's staying with the Yankees or going elsewhere. But again, it's within his own best interest. So other than that, not too much going on in Yankee land. Of course, they did announce a new assistant hitting coach, Brad Wilkerson. So the previous guy, Hensley Mullins, the former Yankee himself, took a head hitting coach, because now all these teams now have like 3 hitting coaches now, which is kind of ridiculous. But he's now the number 1 guy over in Colorado Rockies. So there was a vacancy there. So now Brad Wilkinson will join the Yankee team there. It seemed like this was all done over Zoom interviews. So, these guys, whatever, you kind of toss them up in the air. I don't know, whatever. When the team's doing well, it's always like, the hitting coach is doing great. And then when the team's slumping, fire the hitting coach, what impact these guys have, I don't know. But anyway, if you want to look at Wilkinson's resume, I did come up with the Expos, who would later become the Nationals in 2002. It was actually a runner-up for the Rookie of the Year award. It's kind of bounced around the majors a little bit with a couple of teams. His last one was the Toronto Blue Jays in 2008. Not really much of an impressive, major league career, but again, was around for 6 years, so it's respectable enough. Again, was never anything big. A left-handed hitter, would split time between first base and the outfield, so nothing very impressive there. I was working in Jacksonville at university, so it was kind of bounced around the college system a little bit. Age 45, and I guess the Yankees gave him an opportunity there to come back to the majors and get in the coaching position, and I guess wisely took it, and we'll see where he goes from there. What philosophy he has. He's supposed to be a bit of a mind guy, so his whole deal is like, yes, we want to work on the cage and all that stuff and work on mechanics, but his whole philosophy is having a clear mind when you get into the batter's box there. And this may be something the Yankees could use. You see some of these guys that they just seem totally psyched out, especially when like Stanton's really off. It just seems like he's wailing for anything outside and low and away, and just has really no plan up there. Sometimes same with Donaldson as well. So maybe you could fix some of these guys that just seem to when they're just totally lost, they're totally lost. And, you could just throw the ball, you could roll it to the mound there, and they'll still swing for it. So maybe you could overcome some of that. So that's really the latest in Yankee land there. So Severino, maybe not a happy camper, but it is the right move by Cashman. So, I'll give kudos to Cashman there, making the right call on that. So Section 420, Talking Yankees, a short episode, but make sure you subscribe to this podcast for more upcoming little add-ons.